Hola, hola. Bueno, vamos a comenzar. Espero que termine de venir gente mientras se desarrolla la charla. Pero esto entonces, esta charla es acerca del programa Digital Bridge, eh, en el cual participaron cuatro personas dos de México y dos de Inglaterra. Ellas son Cutzi, Jurhiata, Freya, Edmondes, Sarmen, Almond y Xexa, de Reino Unido. Bueno, dice Reino Unido acá. Entonces, bueno, nada, le presentamos esta charla y espero que la disfruten. Gracias.
Well, hi everyone. As Colasanto said, I am Cutzi, and I will be saying what happened in this program of Digital Bridge that was hosted by SEMAS and Sudan Music Festival on England, I think. I am here with my partners, is Shesha, is Priya, and Sarmen. Well, I think that Freya needs to go kind of quickly. So I don't know if you want to start. I don't know.
To speak about the project. I can stay for like at least half an hour, so don't worry. But yeah, I mean, we are speaking first about the piece we made. I guess.
What did
Can
she
you hear
say?
me?
I'm sorry. I ah, okay. I'm
Can
sorry.
you hear me?
Well, maybe I can start. Our piece was presented last night, and the name of the piece was Digital World because the concept of the piece was talking about, well, the first part of the piece was talking about how we imagine a digital world. It's not like only zeros and one and a binary code. Like to imagine that a digital world has their own physics, their own, literally their own world. Like in streets, avenues, houses, and inside of all of this world, we like to imagine how this world transport the information. I mean, we know that, I think all of we know what is a file, MP4 or something like that. But for this project, we worked with some recording of this real world, but we processed it and then we started to work. This is failing. And I don't know if you want to add something else, Priya.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the kind of theme of travel was kind of interesting to both of us, or like kind of going from one state to another, place to another, literally, but also like sort of mental space and atmosphere and kind of just the sort of changes that people go through. And I think it was nice to compare like this in the sounds that we were recording, and I was kind of maybe going more like literally moving from lots of different countries, but then there's also lots of different sort of like phases and changes that you go through in a daily life. Like every day, even in one city, you might sort of travel in your head with your ideas, and also just within the local space. I think that was where we started thinking about these how we were going to combine and find a way that we shared sounds.
Actually, there's a funny story of how this idea came to us because we were thinking, well, we were in the process of thinking what we're gonna do at the beginning of the program, and in some moment, Priya sent me a file, an audio file of a recording of a plane. She was arriving to Spain, I think, when she sent me,
Yeah, yeah. It's-
and that was the always phrase of the edecanes. How to say edecanes? Well, anyways, I'm sorry. The person of the plane. and they
Yeah,
were like, please to
has
keep
missed that.
safe, keep straight, and put their belts. And we were like, okay, that's the point, that we can start with that, thinking how all of this will be in a digital world. Because, well, the name of the program was Digital Bridge, because we were connected um, through this program. Because Sarmen and we are from Mexico, and Xexa and Freya are from England. So in the first moment, we wouldn't see each other. It's like only we need to work. We have to work through a digital bridge. So that was the point of how we started on this digital bridge. After she came to Mexico for some strange circumstances, but was amazing. I mean, I don't know if you want to add something else.
Yeah, no, it was really nice to sort of like step over the digital bridge and have like all this kind of, yeah, like this person come to life. And I mean, it's obviously I was in this room, so it's nice to see it on Zoom, and I can kind of like, yeah, imagine a bit more of the context, because it's a beautiful building and amazing space there. But yeah, I mean, like I think the first recording was kind of funny, because the it was this like this digital, like, message about the what to do in an emergency, but it was in both English and then Spanish and back and forth. So I was kind of thinking, like that's one very simple sort of, like, way of trying to bring together two different worlds. And when you're on a plane, when you really are going from like one place to another, and it's kind of a surreal experience. So yeah, it felt appropriate to start this like idea of what how to, create a digital bridge.
Even
But yeah, I think from there we had many other ideas about like just nature and human, like the Anthropocene, kind of, the effects we are having on the environment through our technology, and how to like deal with that in a sound piece.
even that was kind of fun, because, well, we need to record the sounds of the real world and then process it, because we thought that was the process of how we become this technologic civilization. So we started recording like kind of soundscapes in our cities and in the foreign buildings of the city, like outside of the city, in the forest or parks. And in some moment, when we started to process the sounds, we realized that some sounds of nature and city were kind of similar, and even sometimes Freya said me that I forgot what recording is what, because she recorded I don't remember if it was a bird or something else, and a train. So in some moment was like we are lost. We were like kind of we were confused, and that started a process of reflexing. Is that the verb?
Yeah, yeah.
Reflexing of how what is digital, what is real, what is the own sound of what world.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think some of the recordings even like literally are from like these birds that do imitate also like the sounds of that they hear in the city. So it's funny also that that confusion or that kind of like, assimilation also exists in nature. So yeah, there is kind of really a very blurred line. But I think I also sort of took some recordings or was interested in the sea, because that's kind of a big kind of idea of being a bridge, but also something that takes in the debris of like, human activity, and is still kind of like this endless like, cycle of nature, but is always like, also taking in the toxins or the waste. It's sort of, it embodies both very like flawlessly. So I kind of did quite a lot of recordings of the like boats when I was taking boats different places, or like just the waves themselves. And yeah, it's also kind of, it's like, yeah, the original interface in a way. But Yeah, I'm very happy with the piece that we made together because I think we got on quite well, and there's kind of both of our characters are kind of like in there somehow, like it's not just field recording, there's also kind of like melody and like rhythm and sort of we sort of I think express ourselves also like quite a lot in the process, which is which I think is important to me, to feel like we sort of had an encounter, and that's the digital bridge really. If you can kind of actually kind of get to know someone's character and exchange with them through sound exchange, then that's quite cool. Anyway.
Yeah, this was more like a zone exchange program. But
Yeah.
well, um,
But
at the end of this part, I would like to, Nali, could you share the the file, because we need to leave time. Yes, leave time for the other team. And well, we worked with mentors in this program. I worked with Juan Jose Rivas. Some of you will know about him. And well, yeah, we decided to, when we realized that Visiones Sonoras will be, the topic of this will be environmental change and climate change, sorry. We started to think how this digital world will be affect, or is affect of this problem, with this world problem. So we started to, with the sounds that we captured, we started to work with them. And I worked with my mentor to start this score, kind of score. And I don't know if you could realize this score the last night, but well, for us was at some point that clean, because in some point we were like, What are we doing?" But it's funny because we start. Well, I need to say first that the piece is not finished, because we need to add also a video part. But the main part, that is the audio, is over, and this is how it worked. Is the first part is city sounds. Even it's not that city sounds, it's more like culture sound. I sorry, is more than culture sounds, because we know that in their city, her city, and in the Mexican cities, the bells of the chapels that are in all the city. I mean, I went to the, well, in Mexican we say, in the butt of the demon. We're like really far. We went, and we also still hearing the bells. So that's the reason in the piece we hear a lot of bells. And well, the last part is kind of nature sounds, because it's like you are getting exit of this world, this digital world, but it's not that you are out. We still there. I think that's the whole point of this piece. We is still in this digital world everywhere, because our life is in that way. Our civilization is going that way. Uh, we need to deal with it. Okay, I think that's all of our part of the team of Freya and I and me. Maybe you can start. Could you close the score, please, Tonali? Your turn, Shesha. Sarmen, I will be there.
Hello, my name is Xexa, and as you were saying, I'm here in London. Although I'm based in London, although I'm not English and I'm not from England. And yeah, I guess I'll start speaking about the process for the creation of this piece. It was made with me and Sarmen. So the name of our piece that was exhibited yesterday, it's called Grain of Sand. And the concept for this piece was basically a metaphor of a grain of sand that then develops to the world. Because this piece and the name of this project is Digital Bridge, being me in Europe, between Europe and Africa, and Sarmen in America, the grain of sand was a metaphor of what we have at the end of each bridge, because we have the ocean kind of in the middle. And then our soundscape and the sound that we created, although the concept is a grain of sand, we aim to allude to a lot of elements, nature elements. So for this piece, we did field recordings, and I'll talk about my side of the field recordings, and then Sarmen will talk about what materials did she record. But I mainly record sound from London, from my surroundings, and from Lisbon as well, the surrounding for the last 6 months, which was the time for this project. And then my surroundings in Santo Tomé e Príncipe, which is a small West African island in which I'm from. And we aim to just collect the sounds of our surroundings to then treat them and process them in a way that we wanted to, and in the way that we wanted, and in the way that we had a message different from the sounds that we recorded, yet that allude to those sounds. So because I do sound design and I produced, I focus on processing those sounds and adding synthesizers and voices manipulation to the sound. And we did this piece going every week to each one of us. So we share the sound each other, but then each week the track will go to the project will be sent to one of us. So for example, Sarmen started and then it went to me. So I would then mix and add stuff, and then I will send it to Sarmen, then could take some stuff that I add, transform them. And it was interesting to see how the piece will go in a way, and then a week after she will come back differently. And not only we focus on recording the sounds of our surrounding, we also focus on taking physical visual registers, photos of our surroundings. Then Sarmen manipulated and made into a video that was showcased yesterday, a black and white video. And I really enjoyed to work on this project and to see our ideas combine, and how the piece became a 10 minutes involving, because it starts in a way, but then it develops, and it has this non-linear progress, which I really liked. And the feedback that we were receiving, and I received here from the side of London, friends that I've showed, is that it's very ambient and it's a very relaxing track. So I enjoy that those feelings are being projected on our project. What do you think, Sarmen?
Thanks, Shisha. Well, I was gonna speak in Spanish, but now because the conference is hosted in Mexico, and as a Mexican, I want to speak Spanish. But now that everyone's in English, I will speak in English. And if I need to translate, I will do it. Voila, yes, as Shesha mentioned, the collaboration is named Grain of Sand. And the idea was to go out as a grain of sand as well, because we are just that, just a little small part in this whole world. And the grain of sand was supposed to be curious about what is happening outside. And the curiosity took us to spaces that I would say 85% outside the city. Outside, in this case, Mexico City. I travel to the south of Mexico as well to record, but I try to not be in the cities. And Shesha tried to avoid, I mean, of course, we had soundscapes and images from the urban world. But Shesha also tried to go, in this case, to Africa, and she recorded there and she sent some images. And thinking also about the topic sound, environment, and climate change, climate change, we were also thinking that these spaces outside the city could give us images, but also inspiration for the images. Like I wouldn't say to give like be conscious about the environment. But if you watch the video, or if you are curious and just watch it on my site, for example, I collected a series of cactus, and that is like giving the earth. Of course, we have the earth from Africa, and we have the mainly the botanic and las plantas, the plants that are growing and that give. I would say like the spirit of the piece, that is the grain of sand, that the sand is part of the soil, no, in a sense. On the other side, I would say that we were discovering that we talk in different languages. Sometimes, of course, I speak Spanish, she speaks in English, but she speaks Portuguese and her mother tongue. I also speak French. So sometimes we were changing in a conversation, changing languages. And I thought, why don't we add words? So the words are in Spanish. Some of them are fragmented. Others are also in English, and in Portuguese they are also fragmented. But the text was very important because we discovered that the digital bridge was only the digital connection that could put in touch to human beings. So that because we are not digital, we have guts, we have skin, we have bones and muscles, and the digital was only the connection to make us sorry for the redundancy, connect, to that made us to meet as a human beings more than to work in digital platforms. I think that was not the most exciting thing. Voila. So I wrote a text, and then we translated. And text, I think it was important. I would read just a couple of lines, like in Spanish, because I think it makes sense also in Spanish. Of course, it starts with bridges, like puentes, sin ataduras, because we are not tied. Vínculos, culturas y pensamientos conectados, sin aislamiento. Of course, el sin aislamiento came to our heads also because we are in a digital conference, through Zoom. And this thing started mainly, of course, 15 years ago, we used Skype, but it started with the COVID and the lockdown. So we said, okay, it's not isolated. Even if we are far away, we are close to each other. Terrenos fértiles. And the fertile land is one of each of us, but also the earth, the mother world, la madre tierra, the mother earth. Tierra que inspira. Caminos que llevan, aguas que alimentan. No minorías. I think it was very important to this line, because as you can see us, even if Xexa is in Europe, of course, I'm super Mexican, and mi fenotipo, no, is very Mexican. She's not from the UK, and we thought, okay, the English also like give this, I would say, the first world input, but also the no minorities is because we have Africa. I have ascendances Japanese. I am super Mexican. She lives in Portugal. So we're thinking we have maybe 5% or more percent in our blood and also in our creations. So it's no minorías, pluralidades, el gozo de crear en la distancia. Because even though we are far away, I think we enjoy this meeting. And at some point, we had the chance to meet in person. I traveled to London, and we met in London as well. Sorpresas distantes, telepatía que sorprende. And I wrote this about the telepathy because sometimes I had an idea, or she had an idea, and she shared that with me, or even with the messages. Is not, I am about to write here, and she just wrote me a message. So it's like there's something that I don't know, or we believe in that. Maybe you don't. I don't know. Like, voila. that something that is invisible, but that exists, and that invisibility is also a bridge because it's energy, and the sound is energy, and the energy vibrates. Sound is vibration. Voilà, el aire, well, the last part, almost the last part is, el aire se siente distinto, mas es el mismo. Because it's the same, of course, air here than there. Salgo fuera de esta caja para dialogar. We try to, as a grain of sands, to get out of our spaces, to film, to record, to conspire, in order to create a common dialogue. And at the end, the piece, yes, as Trisha mentioned, I think it lasts about 10 minutes or so. And while the process, of course, we record with Zoom recorders, but also, so I think something very important, and that Trisha had this idea, was to get binaural microphones. So to have different sources, different ways of recording, so the people could hear the piece with headphones and to feel somehow how we felt while we were listening the animals and or the environment, and also a stereo mix. I speak a lot. I think you continue. You are muted, Shasha. Oh, sorry.
Sure, sorry. We both continue what Sarmen was saying. We both producers, and I'm sound designer as well. We both artists, so we taught as well in creative ways of recording, inputting the sound, because it enhances the sonic experience. If you're not recording as the way that you, at least for me and personally, we thought, if you're not recording as the way that you are putting the sound, it's fun and interesting to why not experiment with binaural recordings. And even our piece, although most of the piece is made of field recordings, you cannot, or personally, I don't think that you can tell throughout the 10 minutes of the piece, because of the way that we process those same field recordings. And we use the field record in our voice, not only as a vocal element, but as a sonic and melodic element, a rhythm element too. So we were focused on finding creative ways and techniques to transform the sound in a non-linear way. There is a moment in the piece where it becomes more rhythmical. And it's interesting because what you're hearing is not the sound of the rhythm, it's the sound of the reverb of the rhythm. So it's just the after. And it gives a different feeling because you hear the rhythm, but you don't hear the source of the rhythm. So you just feel the after, which is the reverb. And I really enjoy it. There is interesting things in the piece that she develops in interesting ways, and I really enjoy the shape that she has. It's very calming, at least for me. I enjoy the end result and the collaboration with Sarmen.
Yeah, me too. I was thinking that, well, at least for us, I speak for both of us. It's a shame that we cannot share the final result, the result here. I imagine that you watched it yesterday, but if we have time, it would be nice to put it. If not, of course, we agree. Voila, that's it.
They are telling me that we don't have enough time. I'm sorry. But well, I don't know if the final videos and the final version of the pieces will be in the page of the SEMAS or yeah. Well, you can watch and hear the videos later if you want. They are going to be hosted on the SEMAS page, and I think they are also gonna be in the Sound and Music page of England. And I think we have enough time for questions. Or well, girls, we're gonna be open to questions. Be prepared, or maybe not.
Maybe not.
Are you still in the digital world?
¿No? Parece que no hay preguntas.
Maybe not.
Todo ha sido muy claro. ¿Ok?
Okay.
Ujú. Ok, bueno, muchas gracias. Muchas gracias a todas. Bueno, continuamos con el siguiente y última conferencia del día, a cargo de Brenda Brown, llamada Hearing the Wind. Muchas gracias.